is very important. Okay. So now the session is being recorded. Now, guys, the second assignment of yours is a take-home assignment. It's not at all this scary. It's a nice, simple assignment. Why have I done this assignment? Why have I put this assignment this year? Is because next year, you are not going to have me for your workshops. Okay, so you are going to be doing a lot of self-directed learning is what I have seen from, the last year. So what I want you guys to do is you will be asked to, go back and reference and do a lot of your own readings and come into the class for specific disease conditions, for specific nutrients of interest for a particular disease condition, so on and so forth. Okay. So this assignment gives you a practice of going back to the literature, reviewing guidelines, reviewing specific documents, which are from a clinical context, so that you can come more well prepared for your MNT2 workshops and things like that. Okay, so last year students were struggling because they didn't have this practice. So in this assignment, you will have the practice which will help you better prepare for your next term. Okay, so that is the intention behind this assignment. So what is this assignment about? Each of you are assigned one nutrient of interest. Which is the nutrient that you are assigned? The document is there in your Canvas. So over here, if you see, each of you are assigned a nutrient. Okay, so you are the morning group. Okay, so each of you have this nutrient. Okay, so now you know which nutrient you are assigned to. Okay, so this information is there in this document of yours. You will be provided with one nutrient and you know where to find that, which is your nutrient of interest. Again, an individual assignment. It is to be submitted in a template. I'll show you what the template is. Okay, and this is the font size and line spacing, all of that. Referencing, I don't care which referencing style you use. You like APA, you like Harvard, you like whatever, use whatever you want. Just be consistent. Don't do, oh, one reference APA, one reference Harvard. No. Okay, just use Harvard, APA, whatever you like. Just be consistent with it. Okay, then you are what sort of articles will be most helpful for you for this assignment? One, the database that will be incredibly helpful for you is your PEN database, DA PEN database. Okay, so how to access that and all, again, I have linked it to this page in Canvas. So please use DA PEN for your this assignment, very helpful. Then you have your, say, SPEN guideline documents and SPEN guideline documents. All of those will be guideline documents, will be again very helpful for you in this assignment, and scholarly articles as well, and textbook. But this is my gradation: PEN, other guidelines, scholarly articles, textbook. So you see like the flow of it. All right. Then this assignment is a maximum 2 pages. All right. And your answers are to be written in bullet point. This is not a big fancy essay assignment. It's like as long as the science is there, the marks are there. Okay. Then this is out of 25 marks. Now, this assignment is out of 25 marks, and your future in-class clinical case study assignment will also be out of 25 marks. Okay. I have done a small example for you on the template, so you get a bit of idea as to what the expectation is. But this is how the template looks like. I'll just quickly show you the template, and then we will go more into the detail for the actual example. So this is your assignment template, 25 marks. This is the first page. So for all of you, you are researching this nutrient with this in mind, that your target population is Australian adults. And you may have information only on the general Australian adults, European descent, the basic one, all right? Or else you may have information on the general Australian adults and for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community members. Okay, so you may say, oh, hang on, there are say, just hypothetically speaking, NRVs designed for the general Australians and for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait community members, okay? Or maybe there's this biochemical indicator which is designed specifically for these two populations, or otherwise you may say there is no information on the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community members. We just have general NRVs, we just have general biochemical indices. That's completely fine, okay? But you have something very, very unique and specific to the First Nation people, please include that. Okay, if you do find something like that, then write your nutrient, which nutrient you have got, your name, your student number. This is how your template looks, and we will go into the details of this in the draft example that I have completed. But your diagnostic is for 5 marks, dietary is for 5 marks, guidelines, which is the main heart of the document, that is for 10 marks. Then any interaction the nutrient has with medication or other nutrients, things like that, that is for 5 marks. Then your references and footnotes are not part of the page count. You have, your page count is restricted to 2 pages. Okay, so this is like your page number 1, and then you can have 1 more page. Okay, and your footnotes and references do not need to be in that 2 pages. The content, the science should fit into 2 pages. You may have 3rd or 4th page which is filled with references, footnotes, completely fine. Make sense? Okay. Now let's go through each of these little sections in detail. So I have partly completed an example for you. It is not, I've not really given you answers, but just to give you a feel of what sort of things you should be writing and looking at. So I've taken the nutrient omega-3. Okay. So this is how I would do. Target population remains the same, omega-3 nutrient. Then I go on further. So yeah, so over here, this is my page 1 over here. So, and I've said that ideally, I would put this information till here in page 1, because I would devote an entire page predominantly more towards the guideline and then a little bit about the interaction and stuff. Okay, but more amount of page towards the guideline, the second page, because that is the heart of what you're doing. All right. So biochemical over here. So when you look at omega-3, are there any blood indicators to show you your, or to reflect your omega-3 levels? Yes, there are. There are serum fatty acid levels for your alpha-linolenic acid, eicosapentaenoic acid, docosahexaenoic acid. Where did I get this information from? I got this information. This is not there, say, in some, I couldn't find this in, say, a particular guideline or document or web resource such as PEN. I found this in research articles, latest research articles. I would not go beyond, say, 10 years of time frame. More recent research article, the more recent your evidence is. Okay, so when you're looking at research articles, don't go beyond 10 years. If you can stick to 5 years time frame, that is even more ideal. Does that make sense? Yes?
I can't see the screen here, but we have to get reference where we got the information from the table.
Your referencing, which I would like in the table, is like, say, reference. Do you see the you may not be able to see that, sorry. Okay, like just 1, 2, 3, 4, like numeric reference. Yeah, because if you're going to use a referencing style which says Smith and Jacob et al. 2017, you're wasting more amount of space in writing that reference. So my logic would be, let me make it numeric, and then the examiner can look at the 2nd or 3rd page for that. Okay, so good question. Everybody clear why I have selected numeric? Yes.
Because APA uses obviously last names, are we able to use APA and then use the numeric?
No, just select a style which allows you to use numeric.
Okay.
Okay, so, but if, see, it would, this is what I would recommend, okay, because you may want to use Jacob et al. 2017, that is fine, but if you really have a lot to write, don't waste that, mean space for these author people. Okay, so just select 2 numbers. That would be helpful, but then select a style which allows you to use number in text. Okay, so that makes it consistent for you. All right. Okay, so yeah, biochemical is reference ranges, provide where possible. Try to use Australian reference ranges. So if you look at your handbook, you know how you have the US one and then the Australian one. Wherever possible, try to use the Australian one, because you're making a resource which would help you in your placements and things like that. So, okay, try to use the Australian one that you can use in your clinical practice. Yeah.
When we all submit this, are we able to share everyone's?
That's such a good question. And let me answer that after I complete this. Okay. So yes, so the session is being recorded and we spoke about biochemistry. Okay, so these are the blood indicators. Everybody good about blood indicators? Okay. Australian reference ranges where possible. Now with clinical, put the signs and symptoms. What happens in omega-3 deficiency? What happens in omega-3 toxicity as well? Do not forget the toxicity side of things. Okay, where do you get this information from? Yes, you can get it from any basic, say, textbook, but I would say try to go as recent as possible. Is there something on pen? Is there something which is out there which I should be looking at first? Okay, so do as much researching as possible. Guys, to be honest, this assignment, this way of researching is very different from researching for a thesis or a PhD or a research paper. This style of researching from a clinical context will be very helpful for MNT too. Okay, so look at any other guidelines out there. Is there something which is there in the ESPEN guidelines about deficiency or toxicity, something which I can refer to which is more latest rather than say a plain textbook which tells me about deficiency and toxicity? Okay, so look at it from that angle. And if everything is the same, it's completely fine. At least you are confident now in saying that be it the guideline or be it the say textbook, it has not changed. Like, this is what has been always reported. All right. Okay, then anything else? Are there any other urinary indicators, saliva? Is there any skin prick indicators? Is there any stool test? Anything else, any other fluids, any other biomarkers should be there in this section. Does that make sense? How we are looking at blood first, then we are looking at signs and symptoms, then we are looking at any other marker which is out there. So just randomly thinking, like if you want to find out if a person is lactose intolerant, you know how we do the hydrogen breath test. Okay, so that is not blood, but that is something else. It is the other sort of biomarker which fits well into this other section. Okay, so as an example. Then we go on to dietary. So this is very, very simple. You have done this like 10 million times previously. So top 5 dietary sources of omega-3. Do not just say fish. Okay, like what is it? Like, per 100 grams. Like, tell me. All right. I have such expressive way of saying things, right? But yeah, so okay, so make it very standardized. Like, how in your handbook, Rowan has done everything per 100 gram or 100 ml. Do the same sort of practice. Okay, so what is per 100 gram? How much of, say, tuna is going to give you how much of omega-3 per 100 gram? Okay, so make it like that. And guys, you may have to do a little bit more research on this. But is there anything on bioavailability for that nutrient? Okay, so yes, omega-3 is available, as you know. Of course, omega-3 is more bioavailable from, say, fish compared to, say, flaxseed. But is there any quantification around it? Okay, try to see research articles which may quantify things. Okay, so maybe you found a research article finally which says that omega-3 from fish is, say, 75% more bioavailable compared to, say, flaxseed, a vegetarian source. Okay, so find out information about bioavailability. Guys, this has helped me a lot in my practice when I do nutrition education with the patients, because sometimes you have a lot of, say, vegan patients, for example, and they are like, oh, only flaxseed, but why can't I just have 1 teaspoon? Then it helps me to tell them, look, like, you will have to have at least, say, 2 to 3 teaspoons, like, break it down in a day. Why? Because to get the same amount of omega-3 from a fish, you need 3 teaspoons of that from, a vegan source. So knowing information about bioavailability helps you to communicate this information with your patients. Okay, that is why we focus on this. Does that make sense? Okay, so try to quantify bioavailability where possible and where information is available. Okay. Then this is again very standard, which is what is the NRV or the suggested dietary target. Okay, SDT for this nutrient for this information. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is very simple. then this is your heart of the thing. And I've just given one example over here that when I have done my, say, research on omega-3, I know that omega-3 has been researched a lot within the space of mental health and to do a lot with depression, for example. Okay, so you may find something like this in PEN or SPEN or some other sort of, say, research document where you may say that, okay, 10 grams of omega-3 supplementation for 6 months is associated with lowering depression risk. Okay, now guys, with this guideline page, what I would encourage you to do is, do not go to some simple original article. Once Smith et al. Did a cross-sectional study on 50 patients and found that omega-3 was very helpful for depression. We are not looking at those sort of studies. You can go for systematic reviews. You can go for meta-analysis, which is like looking at a lot of studies and then summarizing the information for you. You can go to ESPN document. You can go to ASPN document, these guideline documents. You can go to the PEN guideline. Okay, but do not go to this one random cross-sectional study, because these are, look at your NHMRC level of evidence in formulating this guideline document, this guideline section. Does that make sense? So where I would go for is, I would look at PEN. Then I would look at these individual guidelines, national level guidelines. Are there any Australian guidelines for the same? Say the Heart Foundation has something on omega-3 as a guideline. Okay, for the general healthy population or for the heart population. I would look at ESPN, ASPN, all of these sort of documents. Then I would look at meta-analysis. Okay, meta-analysis, why over systematic review? Because meta-analysis quantifies the numbers for you. There is 1.5 times risk of, say, depression when people have low omega-3 levels. Okay, so meta-analysis quantifies things for you. Systematic reviews that is where I would end. I would not go below systematic reviews, meaning I would not look at original articles like cross-sectional studies and some experimental trial or one randomized control trials. No. Okay, if you have a systematic review of randomized control trials, if you have a systematic review of cohort studies, okay, does that make sense? But start from PEN, national guidelines in Australia or international, and then keep going further. And it is okay. You may find, say, you may find amazing information in the, say, National Health Survey by UK. So like, you may find more UK guidelines on this topic rather than Australian guidelines, which is fine. Because if you look at your PEN has everything collated. Like they have Canadian guidelines, they have UK guidelines, they have Australian guidelines. So if you have something at a national level, but say very country specific, but that country is comparable to Australia, then yes, why not to write that? I would find that more of a credible source compared to one cross-sectional study. That is not going to fetch you the right marks. Does that make sense? Okay, so start with PEN for this section is what I would strongly recommend. And say for omega-3, you may have something on the general population, mental health. For fiber, somebody may have more on, say, constipation, GI, heart conditions. That is completely fine. Okay, that is all going to differ depending upon your nutrient and how much research has the nutrient been done on for a particular disease condition. Makes sense, guys? Okay. Then interactions is very simple. Are there any medication interactions with your nutrient, with omega-3? Are there other nutrients which are hindering omega-3's digestion, absorption, metabolism? You may find this information from textbook and things, which is completely fine. But like, I don't mind if you have information about this from textbook because it does not change a lot. But if you find, say, bless you. If you find this information, say from, you know how you have databases for medication, and then you may have certain nutrient interaction, national databases for medication, and if you want to use that, that's even more better. So what am I saying? Do not be scared of using websites which are of credible sources like the PEN website. Then you have, say, databases which you may have for medications and things. Okay, you may have websites for the UK guidelines and things. That's completely fine. Does that make sense? Okay. Footnote references do not count in your page limit. So I would definitely devote the second page to this more importantly, and a little bit of section on interactions with medication and nutrient. This could go in your third page. Do not waste your 2 pages for footnotes and references. Okay. So maximum 2 pages, and then third page could be anything else, all this extra referencing and stuff. Does this make sense, guys? Do you see the importance of this assignment and how it will help you? Okay. So now what I'll do is I will stop share.